This is 210 Local Music Podcast. You're listening to episode number 32.
210 Local Music.
This podcast episode is brought to you in part by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day trial at www.210localmusic.com/audible. We get a nice little bonus if you do, and you can cancel at any time. There are over 150,000 titles for you to choose from for your iPad, Kindle, Android, or MP3 player.
And now, on with the show.
Thanks for tuning in to 210 Local Music Podcast. This is episode 32. And actually, you know what? We're going to start calling it from this point forward 210 Local Media Podcast is what I'll start referring to it as. We are rebranding, and I've gotten a little bit further in the rebranding situation, so I'd like to kind of start switching that over. I don't know how it's going to work with iTunes. So far, I think we've got it switched over in Facebook and Twitter, so we're good to go on that. And, of course, the website, you can still go to 210localmusic.com, but you are able to use 210lm.com and 210localmedia.com, and those will also redirect to the proper place. This week, we step into our general entertainment segment by speaking with a member of the San Antonio Gaelic Athletic Club, my good buddy Rick Ortiz. For those who are unfamiliar, Gaelic refers to Irish and Scottish generally, and in this case, the sports were born in Scotland and Ireland, Gaelic football and hurling, which you'll hear a little bit more later. In this case, we're going to focus on Irish football. This Saturday, just to throw these out, you're going to hear them later on in the podcast as well, but I want to be sure to give some special attention to it. February 15th, you can catch the San Patricios versus the Irish Citizen Army for free at the University of the Incarnate Word soccer fields at 4301 Broadway. For those who aren't really familiar with the sport, it'll give you a good chance to kind of see it in action. After that is Irish Heritage Day, which is on February 23rd. Rick will go into further detail on what that involves. Then on February 28th, at the end of the month, the San Antonio Gaelic Athletic Club is going to be playing Neasden GAA, which is a team out of London. And it's going to be really interesting seeing a San Antonio team play a London team. Definitely make it out for that. It's going to be awesome. And the big event, the huge event that they're gearing up for, on March 8th, the San Antonio Gaelic Athletic Club will play the Houston Gaelic Athletic Club, also known as the Houston Gaels. I believe Rick might have mentioned or might be mentioning the location for that as well. All of the information I'll post in the show notes later. If I get anything between now and then, worst case scenario, we'll blast it on Twitter and Facebook. I really don't want to drag this out any further than it has to, of course, same as usual, I always say that. So without further ado, and this is a longer episode, it's my good buddy Rick, so we talk constantly, and we talk a lot, so hopefully you enjoy this. This might be a little bit of a teaser to some things to come that Rick and I have planned along with our friend Mike, and I'm not going to mention anything more than that. And I know you guys are probably like, oh, this guy keeps teasing stuff that never happens. Things are happening, it's just very slow. We are moving forward, we are growing, we are trying to grow a network. I really hope that you guys stick with us, and I really want to be as transparent as possible, so if stuff doesn't work out, I'll let you guys know, hey, this was the plan, it didn't work out, this is how it's going. We've had some people that wanted to volunteer with 210, and when it came down to it, stuff wasn't working out, or nothing happened, and, that's just life. Stuff doesn't happen sometimes. Anyway, we move forward. So, without further ado, here's Rick Ortiz from the San Antonio Gaelic Athletic Club.
All right, so we'll start off by, I always ask everybody this, and I always explain that the same way every episode, so, yeah, okay. We're going to start now. Okay. It's not the Nerdist. We're not. I'll go ahead and start now. All right. So, who are you, and what do you do?
All right. My name is Rick Ortiz. I am a player and the public relations officer for the San Antonio Gaelic Athletic Club.
Sounds very official.
It is.
And you're also what I would consider to be like my best friend, like my brother.
True that.
Of how many years now? Almost 10 years.
Yes, that's correct.
We met at my wedding, actually.
That's correct.
And you had no hair.
I had no hair, and I was told I was ugly.
By who?
By the Carolyn's boss. She was posing us for a picture, and she's like, she looks at her, she goes, "You're beautiful," and she looks at me, and she goes, "Oh, I just don't know what to do with you." Like, she couldn't like pose me in a way that would make me look attractive.
That's delightful.
So,
Yes.
I mean, that's good for me because at least that means like, oh, I'm doing well for myself. You know, too bad for Carolyn, I guess.
You're the lucky one. Too bad for her. So let's start off by talking about what exactly is Irish football or Gaelic football.
Okay, easy enough. It's one of those sports that seeing it is believing it. It's the best way to really explain it to somebody. But to put it into words, if you can imagine a really hearty mix of soccer, basketball, and rugby. Mm-hmm. It really takes a lot of the elements. And volleyball. There's a little bit of volleyball. It basically, if you can take the elements, some element of most sports that you know as an American, in some way, shape, or form, those elements will transfer over to Gaelic football, which is awesome, which is why it's a sport that's really taken off with people outside of Ireland. People all over the world play it, and I think it's probably in part due to that. Yeah. I mean, I'm by no means a horrible soccer player, horrible basketball player, and I have a little bit of background in American football. Yeah. So when I first started playing, I was able to kind of use some of those skill sets, you know what I mean? Yeah. That kind of, help translated exactly. And there's people that play it that are soccer players, and obviously, a lot of that transfers over really well. And even basketball transfers really well. Yeah. And like you mentioned, volleyball. I mean, the pass, when you pass it to somebody, you're passing it like you hit a volleyball. Yeah. So
full disclosure, I actually used to go to practice with you guys a lot. I do some video taping. I think I actually participated a couple times. And I wasn't that bad. No. I didn't kill myself necessarily. Well, okay, yes. I didn't kill myself, but I was exhausted after one practice, and I was like, oh, this is not going to happen anymore. Yeah. But I got it. For those of you who haven't seen it, I mean, it's crazy because when you run, you take, three steps?
4 steps.
4 steps, and then you volley it back to yourself by kicking it with your foot.
Right.
While you're running, and you have to kick it back to yourself, which sounds ridiculous.
Right. Or you could bounce it like a basketball, which is where that comes in. Yeah.
But watching it, you're like, though you guys make it look so easy, but at the same time, when you're trying to do it, from personal experience, it's like, it was as if somebody said, turn your elbow inside out. And you're like, oh yeah, sounds easy. And then you're like, what the hell? And I didn't fall on my face. It was actually not that difficult. With that being said, takes a lot of energy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's honestly one of the things for me. I mean, I'm by no means consider myself a fit person, and really, I mean, unlike a lot of American sports, for example, that have timeouts or quarters or that type of thing, there isn't. There's it's an hour-long game. There's 2 30-minute halves. You get a 15-minute halftime. But in those halftimes, I mean those halves, I mean you're going
full throttle.
I mean, if somebody gets hurt, the game doesn't stop. If somebody falls down and busts something up, it doesn't stop. Unless it's the type of injury where they have to cart you away, the game still goes. You'll fall down and you're kind of looking around for someone to say, "Are you okay?" And people just running right past you, and you're sitting there in a cloud of dirt, Which is part of the thing. One of the things that's exciting about it is it's just going, and it's a great. I mean, I guess we can touch on that later, but it's a great team sport in part because of that reason. It's not an individual sport by any means. It's certainly, the way it's structured is, the ball has to move up the field. I mean, you're talking about a field that's longer than a football field, longer than a soccer field, bigger than a rugby field. You're talking, 140 yards. And the only way you can really get it up there successfully is to teamwork, chemistry, moving the ball up by hand passing it or, making these precision kind of windowed kicks. Yeah.
And you guys have positions too.
Yeah, you have positions. There's to make it simple, there's defenders and there's kind of guys in the middle, and you got, offensive guys. Yeah. The guys that score the points, and then you have a goalkeeper, that type of thing. So it's really, I mean, at first glance, honestly, if you walk up to it, it looks like someone's playing soccer, and except you're like, why are they using their hands? Right. Why are they using a volleyball? That's what it looks like. It's by no means a volleyball.
Well,
it's heavy.
And the goal, too, because you can kick it into the goal, you can kick it over the uprights.
Yeah, there's a goalie box like in soccer. Yeah. There's a goalie. You can kick it in, or you can kick it in, and it gets a little complicated with some of the rules. Right. And if you kick it in, you get 3 points. Mm-hmm. Now, there's uprights, kind of like field goal uprights in football or in rugby, and you can kick it through the uprights and you get a point.
Okay.
So that's the basic ways
but
you
can
score.
volley it too. Like
You can volley it over the bar.
And that's the same amount of points.
Yeah, it's still a point.
Okay, so first thing I wanted to cover as far as the points, because this always bugged me back when I was practicing too, is I'd hear, it's this many .3.
Yes.
And I'm like, what?
I wish I could sit here and tell you that I figured it out. And in the middle of the game, I'm like, I'm out of breath, and I'm like, and I look over someone, I'm like, look at the scoreboard, and it's like, 112 to 4-8, and you're like, I can't count normally, let alone when I'm like, out of breath and dying. So it's, It's interesting. It's like anything else. The more you spend time around it, the more you kind of watch a couple of games. It's really easy to pick up, and that's what's awesome. Is this sport? Like so many other sports, you can argue that it goes back hundreds and hundreds of years.
Right.
And it's probably the precursor to soccer and football and rugby. And you could argue it is. It has those kind of beginnings, and a lot of those sports take directly from it. And it's a sport that wasn't codified, with rules and stuff. I think it's probably what made me only in the last 200 years it's actually had like a specific, rule set and all that. But they've been playing it for hundreds of years, maybe even longer before that. Going back to like the tribes and kind of being this kind of like,
William
that
Wallace.
Yeah, that type of thing. So, but again, what's so awesome about it, and which is why we try to encourage everybody that we come across, no matter what their background is, their sports background or lack of or whatever, is that you can learn the basics of the sport, and that you can attest that you can learn the basics in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Now I can't tell you you're going to be a superstar. I am not a superstar, but you can learn the basics enough that we've had people that we've had a pub league game, which we'll talk about in a minute, but we've had people that showed up for the pub league game, like, hey, this is my friend, we need another person. That person jumps in and they're playing.
Yeah.
And you're, people are going, okay, do this, and you're kind of like, your head's kind of spinning, but you can pick it up as you go. And it's really that type of sport, and that's one of the reasons why it's so awesome. It's like I said, you find the thing about it that you can relate to. Like, okay, I played basketball, so I know how to move this way, or I can kick a ball and blah blah blah, like soccer. And once you kind of lock in on those things that you're comfortable with, from there you can kind of expand into the kind of more complicated stuff.
Well, and that's I think that's the one thing that when I was going to practice, people were taking it easy on me, and then the next time I went to practice, I'm like, no, I'm not going to play. Then I saw people get really hardcore, and like you said, nobody stops.
Yeah.
So somebody's probably laying on the floor dying, and they're just going.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of foul calling. Is it pretty loose with that kind of regard? It doesn't. I'll put it this way: it doesn't seem like the Spurs, where somebody, oh my god,
yeah, it's a lot looser. It's not like when you watch soccer. It's kind of like the gripe a lot of people have that are soccer fans. You see some guy barely get touched, and he throws some stuff on the ground and throws a big old fit. He's laying there for 10 minutes, and he jumps up and he's playing. Yeah. It's there's no time for that.
Yeah.
It's because of kind of the culture of the game. It's kind of frowned upon, and there is.
Good,
there is rules. There is rules, and there's a hard kind of, you can sit there and flip through a 50-page rule book, but in the heat of the moment, because it's such a fast game, stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's not a dirty game, but it's a physical game.
Right.
People it's basically. That's the way I kind of describe it, because I'm not really a soccer fan. Again, because I'm not good at soccer. It's part of the reason. But it's like if you can imagine soccer, but you take out the flopping and you put in people getting hit.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Not just kicking each other.
Yeah, and not just kicking, tripping people. Yeah, it's there's perfectly legitimate and legal ways to hit people, and it gets really exciting, and it's yeah.
Are there occasions for bad blood on the field, though?
That's what's awesome about the kind of culture of the sport, and obviously you have to give all the respect to the Irish guys that bring this sport over. Because that's really the heart of it. Is you have young, educated Irish people that come to the United States, and they got these, they work, they have professional jobs, and on the side, this is kind of their way to connect back to home, is playing the sport they grew up playing, and they've been gracious enough to share it with, us Americans, kind of. And
well, not only Americans, but I don't think it's any. Your last name is Ortiz, so you're obviously, it's not apostrophe Ortiz.
Right. We joke about that sometimes, but yeah, and again, it's not. it stands to as a compliment to them how open-armed they are with their sport. Is they want people to play their sport. They want people to be excited about it. And it is. As soon as you see it, you get excited. And you look at look at the makeup of our team, or you look at our roster on our website and look at the last names. And, we've got, I'm guessing, 6 or 7 native Irish guys that are from Ireland, from Clonakul or from Portaferry or from Dublin or Tipperary or Limerick. We've got guys from all of these places, grew up there, and then, and you're going to see, Betez and Ortiz and Hernandez and, Aguilar. You're going to see all these names on there, with every kind of name you can think of. And that's so much of why it's such a great experience. It's a great team. I mean,
well, I think that speaks to the city too. I mean, San Antonio is a melting pot.
Absolutely.
You guys are definitely a snapshot of that as well. I mean, it's an Irish sport, but hey, look, we've got everybody.
Yeah,
and not even just other cultures, but you guys also. I mean, are you full? What's the term? Men and women?
We're a co-ed team. I mean, the sport itself is they have women's Gaelic football, and they have the men's. So I mean, it's separated that way. But we do have girls that come out, and we're actively trying to recruit more. Again, people with any type of background, any type of sports experience or non-experience, just to come out and give it a shot. And we all train together, and that's again building towards this kind of idea of community and family, and it kind of be more than just a sport. It's not just this competitive thing. It's like we train together, you drink together, you bleed together, you party together. It's just a really great thing. And like you're saying, the diversity is there. I mean, we have people from all over the United States, guys from Ireland, guys from Honduras, guy from Mexico, people from everywhere. And it's just kind of a thing that really somehow brings people together. And you look at the other cities, in Texas, it's the same way. And their teams are mixed with people from all over, which is awesome.
So aside from San Antonio, there's Houston, there's
Austin, and Dallas. Those are the Texas League. And what we play in the Wild Geese Texas Championship League. That's what Wild Geese is actually one of our the Texas League sponsor. It's an Irish whiskey. And so they're gracious enough to kind of, basically it's called a development league. It's kind of them kind of helping kind of usher this thing along to try to, expand Gaelic sports in the United States and specifically here in Texas.
Yeah. So
within Texas, we have our own league. We play each other every year. And then from there, there's a national league. We play at a national tournament every Labor Day. And that's teams from all over the country. And you're talking about, up north, there's 4 teams in Texas.
Right.
You go up to New York or Boston or Chicago or Philadelphia, you're talking about, umpteenth teams in each city. And
in
it's
much
just
smaller states.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think, and I'd never really heard of, Gaelic football before I started playing, but once you go to, one of these tournaments, these, national tournaments, and you're like, we stayed in Philadelphia 2 years ago. That's the trip I was able to make it to. And we were in a hotel, and this hotel was probably sold out, and it was all people. Wow. No matter where you were, you're hearing Irish accents. And, it's like thousands of people there to play this sport and to come from all over the place.
And how long have you been playing specifically?
I started, the club was founded in 2011. I believe a little bit after St. Patrick's Day 2011. And I joined maybe a month after that, around there, so 3 years.
How did you get hooked up with?
A friend of mine, Adrian Brett, who's a player, and he's also the manager of the team, the coach, basically, a football director. He came over from Ireland, back in 2011, and we were hanging out one night having a beer, and he goes, "Hey, have you ever you think you'd ever try Gaelic football?" And I was like, "What's that?" And he tried to explain it to me, and having a couple beers, I'm like, "I don't think so. That sounds, I'm lazy, And he was like, "Yeah, I met a couple of guys that are really interested in getting involved with it, starting a club here. It's something unique. It's something different." He's like, "I think you'd like it. I think it's something that people can really get into." And I said, "Yeah, why not? I'll give it a shot." And on a personal level, for me, it was a big thing because I was kind of at that moment where it was post-college, you're in your kind of late 20s and you're not as active. Yeah. I'm not going to the gym. I'm not really, getting outside like I needed to. And it was kind of like the catalyst to really get me not only involved physically with a group, but also, kind of just to kind of branch out and get more social and kind of, be in a situation where I have to open my mouth and talk to people, and I'm kind exactly, out of my comfort zone.
Well, that's good. A lot of people don't challenge themselves.
Yeah, and that's it. Like I said, there's so many cool things about it, and that's one of the things is you're suddenly thrust into a group of people, and
it's like a family.
Yeah, exactly. You're talking about people from all over, from different religions, different political leanings, different mindsets, and it's like a family. You have your gripes and your arguments, but it's like you feed off of that. You feed off of the differences between these people and the kind of complexities of these kind of like social interactions, and it's so incredible. And again, like the Irish guys, they're so kind of nurturing of that, because it's not. Well, partially because they have great sense of humor. Yeah, they like to have a good time. They love to be sarcastic. And coming from our background of friends, it was perfect. I felt like really at home with it, because if someone's not making fun of you, we always say if they're not making fun of you, they don't like you. Yeah. And that's how we always talked about it in our own circle of friends. And this is the same thing. It's like you go once or twice, and then 2 or 3 times later, someone starts making fun of your shoes, making fun of your hair, and it's part of the thing. And it's a playful thing, but it's fun, and it's part of that bonding. Real quick, I should probably mention another facet of the club that's really interesting and diverse is that we've got quite a few guys that are in the military. Guys, that have been in the Navy, Army, Marines, Air Force, everything. Yeah. And which is also a really cool thing, because you have people that have moving to San Antonio, living here for work, and it's an opportunity for them to get outside of their comfort zone or outside of their kind of normal military world, and those guys bring so much to the club. I mean, you got guys that have really great experiences, and again, they're from different places, and one of the founders of our club, actually, we like to say this, is that the club was born. The club's here in San Antonio. This is where it was founded. This is where it started. But it was born in Mosul, Iraq. Yeah. One of the guys, Jason, and Jason, he's a great guy. And
shout out to Jason Binkley.
Yeah, Jason Binkley. But he was telling us one day, he's like, I was in Iraq, and I saw some guys playing some sport. He was watching online or something. He's like, that's awesome. I want to try that. I want to learn it. Yeah. And when he got sent over here to Fort Sam, he was just like, I want to start a team. And he reached out to Adrian and to Tyler and a couple other people that were kind of instrumental in starting the team, and they ran with it. I mean, to their absolute credit, and again, them and so many other guys that have, you came around. It was right around that time when it was really taking off, and you had. We could spend an hour naming off the names of all the people that have kind of contributed to this rapid growth of this thing. It's been really exciting.
And you guys practice usually once a week, but you guys have an off season or something?
Right now normally it's 2 days a week. It's Wednesday nights at 6:30. Usually it's about 2 hours, and then Saturday mornings at 9. The season it's pretty much like kind of a summer. Like a summer season, spring, summer season. Yeah. So usually after nationals, that's kind of where you kind of say, okay, this is where the season ends, in a sense. After nationals, that's kind of what you're building up to. You're playing, for us, we're playing to the Texas League.
So you're
and all
that.
Yeah, it's the regionals. Exactly. Yes.
Oh, okay. Regionals, my bad.
No, but that's what they call it. We're working up to regionals, but that's it. And you're kind of that's the whole concept is in the off season, which is always kind of a misnomer, because it's like you're never really off. You're always, everybody always wants to be involved and be practicing and kind of working on their skills and stuff, And during that time, it's kind of a buffer period for people to kind of get back in touch with their other part of their lives or catch up on their work. Exactly. But it's pretty much all year. But really, January, February, it takes off full throttle. Like right now, we're really in the middle of a big push. We've got Garrick, who's a personal trainer with a BOM personal training and nutrition, and he's just whipping us into shape. Yeah. Awesome guy. He's just really, really pushing us hard, which is what we need. Yeah. We've always
take to that next level.
Yeah, exactly, to the next level. We've always trained, and we've probably waited too long to push in those last kind of months, a couple of weeks, but this year we really decided we wanted to focus getting in shape and being able to stay fit and stay healthy through the whole season, obviously all the way to September for the national tournament.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but it's an all-year thing. I mean, we do the pub league stuff, in between the league games and stuff. So it's just opportunities to get people more experienced or get new people out, give them opportunities
recruiting and
see the sport. Yeah.
So, and you guys meet out at Almost Park Basin?
Almost Basin Park at the rugby field.
Park.
Yeah, there's like so many. Yeah,
It sounds weird.
Almost Basin Park, the rugby field. It's over there off of kind of between Hildebrand and the quarry.
Yeah.
Right there in the basin there, in the bowl swamp. Yeah, we practice there. We're always there. I mean, there's a big rugby field there, and you see a bunch of guys running around acting goofy. Yeah. Making fun of each other, having a good time. That's us usually.
I remember being out there when you guys would practice, and people would walk by and I'd be there with filming, and they'd be like, "What are they doing, man? That's not how you play soccer." I'm like, "That's Irish football." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And just walk away.
Yeah,
and they usually keep looking back. Like they're like, you can obviously tell that they're intrigued. Like, "Whoa, that looks different." And just seeing it, like we talked about earlier, it's like. At first, you're like, oh, okay, it's soccer, and you're like, wait, that's not soccer, and holy crap, they don't do that in soccer.
Yeah.
And just because I really want to get the point across that if anybody's interested in joining, definitely, but be ready, be prepared, because it's a lot of physical, just so much. But I didn't last. I did not last. I think I practiced maybe 3 times.
Yeah, something like that. A couple more maybe.
But yeah, I mean it's really exciting. I really am glad that I was able to get you on because I really wanted to talk about this. I've been wanting to kind of do that from having gone back to being involved with the club in the very beginning and not being able to be involved for so long. I wanted to at least try to get back to you guys a little bit more, get some spotlight on you guys because I think what you're doing is definitely worth doing. And specifically, I'm hoping that eventually the club grows in a specific area, which is my favorite Irish sport, hurling, which, although I'm probably even more ill-prepared to play that, I would want to give it a try. So explain hurling, because
it's an absolutely terrifying sport. That's my opinion. I wish Kevin McManus was here because he's an absolute pro. He just makes it look easy, and he's gracious enough to really when we get opportunities, and sometimes we do. He's able to host training sessions for hurling as well. But the short of it is hurling is basically it follows the same sport, the same rules as Gaelic football. The one difference is you have this terrifying long piece of wooden stick. Similarly,
it's like a cricket bat,
like a baseball bat, hockey stick, axe. It's a really imposing thing. It's the kind of thing that even if you don't play a sport, you should buy one and just keep it by your door. And if later on, when your kid, if you have a daughter and she is going on a date, this is the kind of thing you want to be holding that because it's an imposing looking thing. And they use that, and that's a hurley. And there's the slitter. I want to say it wrong, but because it looks like a baseball, it's like a little leather ball. Okay. And so again, it's the same kind of rules.
Yeah, it looks like it's sewn upside or inside out.
Yeah, it's got the little ridges on it. Yeah. That's so they can pick it up. Again, it's the easiest way is it's very similar to Gaelic football. The same kind of rules, the same setup, except it is lightning fast, and you have to be quick and very, very brave.
Like I said, something that I probably wouldn't be successful at.
It's really cool. Like I said, I barely have enough coordination to do the Gaelic football. And this is I've had a couple opportunities to actually, go out there and hit the ball and stuff and learn how to scoop it up off the ground and all this kind of stuff, which is cool. Kind of like the basics of it. Yeah. And, when you whack it, that thing flies. And it's not they always say Americans, we tend to want to Babe Ruth it like it's a baseball bat. And you can't. It's more like they say a golf swing, which I'm horrible at golf too. So. But it's kind of more of that motion. And when they hit this thing, you see, like I said, just to come out and see a couple of these guys whack these things, and these things will fly, absolutely fly.
And Kevin does when you do games, when you have either public games or tournament games, he'll come out and he'll do a demonstration.
Yeah. They do the puck photo, which is they'll do a little demonstration or a short game, or they'll do the longest hit and stuff like that. And again, these guys will whack it. You see some of these guys come out and they just nail this thing. And it's incredible how far and how accurate they can be with it. And but yeah, that's an exciting sport. They didn't used to, which is nuts, but they now have to wear helmets.
Oh, really?
For the longest time, probably back into like the historical days or whatever. Like like they didn't wear helmets, which is nuts when you see this how fast this sport is, and you see and people get hit with this stuff.
Yeah.
But now they wear helmets, and that's really it. They wear a helmet. There's no pads.
There's no pads.
Yeah, they're like maybe a mouthpiece.
And there's no
helmet.
pads in Irish football either.
No, there's no pads. There's no shin guards. Nothing. I mean.
Jeez.
You're wearing a pair of shoes and some shorty shorts, and
and injuries do happen, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, like not any more that you see in any other sport.
Yeah,
I've probably.
Do you think players are more aware of their bodies when they're out there, like realizing, this isn't football. I don't have pads. I can get creamed.
You are. I mean, but it's like anything else. You have to kind of block it out of your mind. Okay. And because the contact is a lot of incidental contact. I mean, you don't. Generally, you don't hit somebody when they're not looking. It's not like it's not a cheap sport by any means. But there's times where you do. I mean, you can. The terminology is different. In Gaelic football they say tackle, and some people come out and they think tackle, sweet, wrap someone up, throw them on the ground, and say that's not what they call tackling in Gaelic football. A tackle is slapping the ball out of someone's hands. You can't rip it out. You can't wrap them up. You can't drag them down. But you can put your hand in and slap the ball out.
Okay.
Now, what
and
you
even
can't,
if you hit them,
in some time, and that's again where this gray area, which is awesome about the sport, is there's a nice gray area where you see it and you go, that doesn't look legal, but no one said anything, so it kind of goes on. And I'll tell you, having had the opportunity to play this sport, is you're running with that ball, and someone sticks their hand in, and it may be a fist, and it may hit you in the ribs or the stomach or some other part of your body, and again, it's like you're just trying to get the ball out. You're never trying to hurt people. You're never trying to be a jerk, but it happens, which is cool. And there's the thing that is really cool that you get to do is it's like a shoulder-to-shoulder hit, basically. Mm-hmm. So if you're running alongside somebody and you can't quite get to that ball to slap it out, and you're running alongside them, and you can shoulder hit and check them. I mean, you can just drop your shoulder and hit them. As long as you're squared up on each other's shoulders, you can hit them. Yeah. Now, you can't charge somebody or jump on their back, but you hit them on the shoulder, and it's cool when you see that happen. Yeah. That's one of those moments you're like, whoa, this is not the weak-hearted, Like
and then you see somebody tumble for 30 yards.
but it's very cool, very cool.
And so tell me about some of the stuff you have going on. Like you said, you guys are getting prepped. This is that time of the season where things are just go, go, go. Right off the bat, I think the first thing is the Pub League game this Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. This Saturday at the University of the Incarnate Word at their soccer fields. Not their main stadium, but the soccer fields that are right behind basically center field of their baseball field. There's some soccer fields in the back.
And that's at 4301 Broadway?
Yes, yeah. So it's at the university, except just kind of go to the back where the fields and the sports area is.
So explain Pub League, because... I mean, what exactly does
that
mean?
The Pub League is another kind of developmental part of having this Texas League or the clubs or whatever. It's just an opportunity for people to get games in, to get more experience. That way, when they do play in the bigger games, they have some experience going into it. Exactly. And what it is, in Lina Rose, which is one of our executive sponsors, they've always kind of been with the team since we've started and been really supportive. They sponsor this Pub League, which is basically we take the whole body of the team, which is the San Antonio Gaelic Athletic Club, and then for one day out of the month we're pub teams. Yeah. Basically means you divide it into two separate teams. So historically for us it's been the San Patricios and the Irish Citizen Army. So we divide into two teams and we play a regular full-on full-on game, and it's again, I mean, it's us, and we love each other, but for an hour, we kind of lay into each other sometimes, which is cool. Like whether it's us or playing against other teams, that's one of the things that's cool is that you play a game and it's a hard-fought game, and there's blood and there's sweat and there's aches and pains, but when the game's over, everybody goes to the pub and slapping each other on the back and joking and
sometimes you got to take a game to the pub. You got to be honest.
Well, but yeah, I mean, it's always retaining that same mentality of like it's a game. You play hard, you train hard, and then when it's off the field, you have a good time. You have a good time. You drink hard. You talk hard.
Yeah, and I've been lucky enough to attend some of those, and it's a blast. I mean, I see everybody get pretty nicely toasted, and everybody's fine, and like nobody has to be like, dude, I'm sorry about earlier. Usually, everybody's just like, dude, whatever. We're at the bar now. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it's such a a big part of it, the social aspect. It is a social club as much as an athletic club, because that it's tied in. You have to realize that Gaelic football in Ireland, it's very, very intertwined with the communities there. You have your town, and you have your county, and you have your country, and all these things are intertwined. It's kind of like the way we think of football in Texas.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like
the culture,
high school football.
Yeah, the culture is built around it, and which is awesome, because it's something that families can kind of get involved with together, and the fathers and sons and all of that. It's something that you can really share and bond over. Yeah. And I think again, they've done such a great job of carrying that over here to the United States, where our clubs are the same way, where you play and have a good time and have fun, and then you off the field, we do all sorts of stuff together. You celebrate birthdays and holidays, and we've been we have a lot of family members, a lot of families in the club, and a bunch of us.
I gotta say, sorry, Jimmy, I missed your birthday the other day. We were packing. We are broadcasting right now from the old apartment in the empty bedroom. But I'm sorry I didn't get to make it. I would have been there had we not been moving. So that goes to speak to the whole camaraderie thing. I haven't been really directly involved with the club in so long, but they're still my friends. They're still people that when we hang out and they're there, I'm like, oh man, it's good to see this guy. I haven't seen him in so long. Yeah. And to catch up. So I just wanted to throw that in there, Jimmy. Special shout out.
Jimmy. There's a picture of him sitting next to me. Bald head.
As a matter of fact, you guys have do you have an Instagram?
Yes, we have all the normal stuff. We've got Facebook, Facebook San Antonio GAC, Instagram San Antonio GAC, Twitter San Antonio GAC, nice and easy. Yeah. We have a YouTube page, and of course our main site is the SanAntonioGAC.org, which kind of links all that together, and that's where you can go to see a calendar of not only just our team events, but pretty much all the events Irish related in San Antonio, which is really cool. Yeah. Again, that's part of that inclusiveness that we're trying to be a part of with not only the city, but specifically to the Irish culture. There is an Irish community in San Antonio, a really strong.
Well, I'm an 8th Irish.
There you go, exactly. And it's a strong community, and it's got a lot of roots here in San Antonio and Texas, and so kind of us trying to make sure that we celebrate that culture and help keep all these groups connected. And again, whether it's through the Gaelic sports, or through the Irish dancing, or the language, or the traditional Irish music, all these things are tied together. They're inextricably tied together, which is really great. So if you come to any of these events, usually like the bigger events, you see the dancing, you see the music, you see the sports, you see people singing, all this stuff, and it's
it's a blast. I got to go to the one that you guys had at the Lion and Rose over at, was it Stone Oak?
Up at Stone Oak, yeah.
Yeah, and that was awesome. Especially, and for me, it kind of I've never been involved in sports for real. I totally bailed on it. When I got to high school, it was ROTC, so that way I wouldn't have to take gym. So I did ROTC for 4 years, just so I wouldn't have to take gym. I didn't want to shower near anybody. I thought it was kind of weird. But not being a part of a sports team, and yet seeing you guys when you sang together, I think Jerome headed up the and what's the name of the song?
You're putting me on this.
Yes, I have to. Because we gotta hear some Gaelic.
Something. It's a great song. I know it is what's awesome is Jerome was our resident Gaelic speaker. And he's an American, but he knows the language, and he's courteous enough to try to when he can share with the people and teach people, and we have a song that we all kind of sing at our events and during our games and that sort of thing, and it's cool. He taught us how to sing it phonetically in English so that it's easier to remember, but all of us know the words to it, and if you ever get a chance, there's a lot of versions of it. There's a version in that movie, Wind That Shakes the Barley. Sinead O'Connor does a really, really good version of it. Yeah, it's a traditional Irish song, but you read the lyrics, and it's just really, really beautiful words.
It's I gotta say, hearing y'all sing it, it got my blood pumped. It was touching, and at the same time, I was like, I want to go out on the field right now, even though I just had a bunch of shepherd's pie and Guinness mac and cheese. Love you, Lion Rose. Yeah. And going back to the social media that you guys had, one thing that I wanted to make note of is, and this was probably 2 years ago that I looked and saw that you guys had a Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Like a full-blown, like,
we do.
crap roster. Like, I gotta say, like, I think the only band in San Antonio that I know that has a Wikipedia page is Girl in a Coma, and it's very sparse. It's very minimal. Y'all's is massive. Like, you have the biggest Wikipedia page of anybody that I've gotten to interview, and it was pretty, like I was like, oh my god, there's Rick's name, and there's everybody's name.
Yeah.
Wow, it's huge. And I think, did you guys start that? How did that? Did it just pop up in your?
No,
eyes?
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Tyler, who was instrumental, in the beginning of the club to really
Tully, right?
Yeah, Tyler Tully. And really just kind of setting up some of this stuff, and I think he was the one that originally set up the Wikipedia page, and then
good job, man.
And then some of us contribute to that, and I do a lot of the website stuff, and I kind of handle some of the social media aspects. So I do try to go in there from time to time, me and Jimmy, to update that, and that's something like I said, because we have people from all over. People who have such diverse backgrounds, we want to honor that, and we, like I said, I try to keep our roster on our website and on the Wikipedia as up to date as I can. It's not always exactly up to date, but we try, because we want, not only to honor all the everyone's history,
right?
Everyone's personal history and everyone's, their heritage, and I think it's important. And we always try to stress that we're certainly an Irish organization, but you don't have to be Irish, or you don't have to specifically come from that. I mean, I would never pretend like I'm Irish. There's no Irish blood in me, but not that would be bad. I'd be happy, but it's.
Although you have been to Ireland.
I have been to Ireland, yes.
And you went to the Guinness factory.
I did. I went to the Guinness storehouse, and Guinness actually coming up is going to be one of our sponsors for the team this year. Yes,
dude, that's awesome.
Yes,
that's a great land,
which is really exciting, because we're really happy to partner with them, because obviously they're
huge.
A world-renowned brand. It's synonymous with Ireland, so it's a really cool opportunity to be sponsored by them, and we're going to wear their name on our jersey.
That's amazing.
This year, that's something we're bringing out some new kits, which are jerseys, for the new season. And, for the first time, which is really cool, we're going to have our sponsors. We're going to have Lion and Rose in the front, like you've always seen, our club badge, the GAA badge, the Guinness on the back. And along with that, we're also going to have the names of all the other Irish organizations in San Antonio, because we really, again, want to kind of focus on that community and on that family. So you have the, Harp and Shamrock Society of Texas. You have the Irish Cultural Society of San Antonio. You have the Ancient Order of Hibernians, Columkill Division 1. You have all these organizations, and a lot of these groups overlap. Some of them don't, but a lot of them do, because it's such a tight-knit, really, really...
it's almost very niche.
Yeah, it's just a really cool community, and so we wanted to really try to, again, to honor that history and the heritage by trying to include all of that on our jersey this year. So luckily, with the help of Lion and Rose and the support of the organizations and Guinness, we're going to be able to do that, which is exciting. And we go to other cities, and people always remark on our jerseys, and they're
really sharp looking.
Yeah, really cool stuff. O'Neill's, which is a native Irish company. I mean, they make all our stuff. All our stuff's from Ireland. Everything we wear, which is really cool. Which is a really cool thing, and we're obviously proud to be associated with that. Kind of touching on the idea of heritage and inclusiveness. Our team nickname was the San Patricios, or San Patricios. How do I say it? But that's something else that we've it was always a pub league team name that we had, and last year we kind of voted as a club to make that kind of our official nickname. And I mean, it's worth looking up. I mean, it's a really interesting, kind of complex,
Well, tell us a little bit about it.
Just the San Patricios were Irish-born guys that were in the United States Army, and at one point they fought alongside some of the people from Mexico. They fought alongside them because they shared some shared ideals and beliefs, and the important thing about that is the same way that we respect the idea of the Alamo and the Defenders and all that thing, as a culture, as Texas and the world over. I mean, you can go anywhere in the world, and I remember going to Ireland and somebody asked me where I was from, and not, people from Texas, of course, we always get that rap, because when someone asks you where you're from, you don't say I'm from America, you say I'm from Texas.
Right.
And specifically, I'd be like, so where are you from? I'm from San Antonio. Oh, the Alamo. Which is incredible. It's just,
they knew it right away.
And they knew it, and and that's the thing. There's so many cultures here. There's so much diversity that go. I mean, everywhere, but specifically because we're here in Texas and in San Antonio. You look at the Alamo, and you look at there's people from all over. There's people, Native Irish guys that fought and died there. And of course, you can get tied up in kind of the politics of all that stuff and what it represented back then. But the reality is, when anyone stands up for something they believe in, when anyone does something that's from their heart and puts themselves into it, you can kind of see that, and you can kind of pick that out. And that's kind of, again, where the San Patricio things is kind of just honoring the legacy of Irish people that have always been a part of the United States and Texas's history and their lineage. And they do have a really interesting relationship with Mexico. You have places in Mexico that honor the San Patricios.
Wow.
So being in San Antonio and having the the Hispanic population that we have, and having the Irish population, you'd be surprised that it not just that kind of, I can't describe it, but
back to that time.
Yeah, it kind of harkens back to it, and that bond, obviously it's evolved over the years and the centuries, but it's interesting how you kind of still feel it. You go to the halfway to St. Patrick's Day thing that Harp & Shamrock does, or one of the Hoolies, or one of these things, and it's like, we joke like, as Mexican guys, it's like when you go to your family wedding or quinceañera, it's that same vibe where people are dancing, people are having a good time, and you're talking to strangers, or and it's got all those kinds of feelings of home. Mm-hmm. And for me, and I would venture to say so many other people in the club would say the same thing. It's like you can be somewhere and you feel like you're home. You feel like you're in the right place. Yeah. Where you're supposed to be at that moment. Like going back to the song we were talking about earlier, and please put the name on the site so that people know and they can look it up. 'Cause it's a beautiful song, but the line that always sticks with me. I was talking to, I remember at the Christmas party, Erin Perez is one of the lady footballers in the club, and she's always been involved, and she's helped us with a lot of the PR stuff. And I remember we were talking about the song, so we sang it. And I remember we were talking about, there's a certain line in that song, and it's "You're welcome home." That's the line. It's like, "You're welcome home now that summer has come." Yeah. And I don't know, you know me, I'm a sentimental person, but there's something about that whenever I hear it. It just really gets me. And that's what I think of when I think of this club, or when I hear that song. Is I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. Like it's so.
That's cool, man. Well, you gotta do stuff that you're passionate about, or else what's the point, So it's good, and that's the one thing that I noticed, like when you had first started going to practice and stuff, that immediately you were very passionate about it.
Oh yeah.
And that like I was like, if Rick's like me and he's lazy,
which I am.
He's not gonna.
Which I am.
When you told me what it was, like Saturday mornings at what time?
9 o'clock. Yeah. I think we used to actually do it at 8.
Yeah.
Which is insane, because that I'm not a morning person.
No.
And I won't say to my credit I got myself up for it, but to this day, like Adrian or Jimmy or somebody will text me. Jimmy's the worst culprit. He'll text me 1,000 times, get up. And finally I'm like, yeah. And you do, and at some point you say, you know what, like I want to go. Yeah. I don't want to miss out. It sucks. I hate getting up. It's right now. It's cold in the summer. It's crazy hot. Man. But you don't want to miss out. You want to be there. You don't want to miss something cool that happens, or a good laugh or whatever. Yeah. So
which there's no shortage of when you look at the Facebook page or the Instagram.
Yeah. There's a bunch of there, by the way. lots of characters, definitely, and it's really exciting. Again, going, I know you had mentioned about some of the stuff that we have coming up. We do have this public this Saturday, which we really hope we can get some people out at. And it's just a cool thing, just to see this thing kind of with your own eyes and kind of experience it. It's a cool thing, and obviously it's leading up to some other stuff. I know towards the end of the month, on the 23rd, on a Sunday, the Irish Cultural Society does their annual Irish Heritage Day up in in Leon Valley at their community center up there, and that's a cool thing to do too.
Where I used to live.
Yeah. It's a cool thing to do because they have Irish dancing, Irish music. They do some like soda bread. I think they do a little bit of Irish stew, if I'm not mistaken. And then they have, set up all kinds of tables, and they have, arts and crafts, and, we have a table there. We sell some of our merchandise. Some of the other organizations do. But again, it's just a cool social thing. You see, it's awesome about this is you see all the families. This isn't like, and to like be clear, it's not like a dude thing. It's not like we're like a bunch of bros that just hang out. I mean, you got guys, and you've seen them like with their kids and their wives, and
Bingley's daughter, wearing the shirt.
And Jimmy and Gavin got the jersey and all that. And that's the thing is like you see that, and it's not just unique to just us. It's like you look at the larger Irish community here, and you see all the kids, and you see how passionate the parents are about the dancing, and the kids are passionate. It's not these kids they don't seem, from what I gathered watching it, is they seem like they're really enjoying it, and it's an awesome thing. I don't know if you've ever seen like the Irish, like the dancing, like you have like the industry school here and stuff, and it's just incredible. You're just like, I can't get over it, man. Like these kids are just flying through the air, and it's really exciting. And you see that, and you see like the live music, and they're playing. It's
well, shoot, at the Lion and Rose, I got a little bit of taste of that when the girls were doing the dancing, and it's funny because, and you and I have talked about this before, as far as being Hispanics, but not. Like, I think our generation is the lost generation of.
We're kind of disconnected a little bit. Yeah.
But even witnessing that for another culture made me proud of my culture, my heritage. Yeah. And I think that's what's awesome. And then, for a moment, I felt more than 1/8 Irish. I was like, oh hell yeah. Give me the lyric sheet. I want to sing along.
Yeah.
But I think that's the great thing is that there is a culture. There is a lot of Irish people here in town, and not only that, but they don't care who else shows up.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing. And I know for a while, before you got involved with everything, I didn't know when anything was. I hadn't heard of any of this stuff before. So I mean, the press wasn't there. Yeah, I see it happening more and more, where it's gaining more attention. I'll see it on banners, every once in a while. So I mean, it's exciting to see that it's growing. And I think it was one of the people that I had heard at that Lion and Rose event that was saying that they didn't want the culture to die.
Yeah.
That they said, they were like, I'm like 3/4 Irish or something, and have never been to the homeland, don't know a lick of Gaelic, don't know anything about my culture, and I suddenly realized that I didn't want to lose that when my child was born.
Yeah.
So I got involved with the club.
Yeah.
And I heard them say that, and I'm like, that's interesting. Like, I really wonder, like, eventually, of course, I want a world where everybody's just this mixture color and we're all one race.
Yeah.
But before that happens,
not the master race.
No, not a mix of browns. We'll just say that. But like, I think to hear somebody say, in the meantime, of course, to hear somebody say, I don't want to forget my roots, and I want to be able to pass that on to my kids. I mean, that's awesome. And for there to be this kind of stuff around, because, like I said before, way back before you guys started, none of it, I mean, of course it existed, but nobody ever heard of it. I definitely didn't hear about it. Now you hear about it more. So if anybody wants to get in touch with their culture, whether it's Irish or not, but specifically for those that have that Irish background, this is the perfect way to do that.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
If they get involved with you, like you said, if they get involved with San Antonio Gaelic Athletic Club, they get involved with a little bit of all of it.
Yeah, I mean, from there
you have meetings with everybody.
Yeah, from there you can branch out, and if you have family or kids or whatever, you can branch out into the dancing. They can, you have the Camaltas of San Antonio. They're at Pizza Italia every Thursday.
Oh, okay.
And they have this like Irish jam session.
I think I saw
which is really cool. They did that, and I don't know if they still do it, but at Almost Barmacy they would do on Thursdays same thing, an Irish jam, and it was really cool to see that, and people just jamming away, man, which is really cool. And there's all those opportunities. And again, like we hope to not be the end all and be all of Irish culture, but to at least be kind of a conflux point, a way for people to kind of branch into other things. And I mean, you have like the Irish Cultural Society, and if I'm not mistaken, the Harbin Shamrock, that you don't have to be Irish to be involved in to join their organizations.
That's cool.
They just want people to have appreciation for Irish culture, and like you said, and I will attest to that, is being involved with the Irish culture makes me appreciate my own culture more.
Yeah.
I wish there's always that further extent, like, I wish I knew Spanish. I wish I could do this. Of course, but at least you get those pangs and you go, yeah, like, I appreciate that. And you can find ways to relate this culture to that culture.
And links to the past.
Exactly. And it just goes on and on. It's like, like a little, butterfly effect thing or whatever, which is really cool. But that's what we really
hope. Flaps its wings and then Irishman gets his Guinness.
Yeah.
That works.
But that's the thing, like, to just, that's our hope, to really, to be able to offer that to people is basically like a glimpse, like a little taste of all the other stuff that this city has to offer. And the city is in kind of in kind of a renaissance, and that with the music scene, the art scene, the film scene, all these things are exploding, and the more those things kind of bloom out, you're going to see the diversity and culture and people's backgrounds start to bleed into their art and their music and their film, and that's when you say F to Hollywood and New York, and that because then you have this vibrant, glowing, powerful in Austin, powerful scene that's not just driven by an industry. It's driven by an actual cultures. The cultures kind of meeting in the middle, which is such a cool thing. I've heard people from like different Irish organizations. I think I saw something that someone posted on Instagram not that long ago, and it was it said like don't just be Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Be it 365 days out of the year. Yeah. And that's a cool thing because that's not something that just applies to Irish people. Because, that's kind of the joke around, on St. Patrick's Day, they say, it's the one day of the year that everybody's Irish or whatever. And, then, and there are those kind of, stereotypical connotations where it's just the green beer or the leprechauns and the green and whatever, blah blah, and it's so much more than that.
Oh yeah.
Like any other culture, there's so much more to it than what's on the surface, and that's why it really made sense seeing that little quote or hearing people talk about that because it's true. Is just in the same way you feel on St. Patrick's Day where you're just having a good time and it's cool to be around people and people having a good time and people experiencing something different. You can do that every day of the year. Yeah. And again, it's not just playing sports. It's not just one thing or the other. There's just so many opportunities. And again, you can meet so many different people from different backgrounds. Mm-hmm. And it's not, our conversations we're not sitting there like, let's just talk about Irish history. You have people that are, musicians and artists and teachers and doctors and lawyers, and you would not believe the scope of people that we have in this organization, and it's so cool, and sometimes I forget because we're laughing and we're joking and we're kind of messing with each other, and sometimes I go, man, I really want to pick some of these guys' brains because they have this experience and these different perspectives that I don't have, so when you get a chance and you kind of sit with them like, hey, so tell me about yourself or where you're from or whatever, and there's just so many opportunities for that, which is really cool.
That's awesome, man. Well, I know we wanted to go back to some more of the stuff that's going on moving forward. After Irish Heritage Day on February 23rd, you've got the San Antonio Gaelic Athletic Club versus Neasden Gaelic.
Yeah, Neasden GAA.
It's GAA is
Gaelic Athletic Association. Okay. Usually you hear that with the teams. It's either like GAA or GAC, Gaelic Athletic Club. Gotcha. Different kind of variations of team names. But the Neasden GAA team is a London-based Gaelic football team, and they're going to be coming over here on a tour this month, making a couple of stops. I think they're stopping in Dallas too. But they're stopping here on the 28th, which is a Friday night. We're going to be playing them at 7:00. It's a free game, but it's be our first international friendly match, I guess you could call it. Which is pretty cool.
And where is that going to be played at?
We're solidifying it now, so check back at the Facebook. Right now I think we're looking at playing at the Alamo City Rugby Club's field. Their field's over off of Goliad and by Brook City Base out that way. Gotcha. I'll let you know once I have the details of it.
Cool, and I'll throw it up on the site and social media, spam it.
But so that's a really cool opportunity. Neasden's a team that Adrian got to play against when he was living in London.
He was professional.
Well, yeah, it's cool. Right. Which is one of the interesting things about Gaelic football. It's one of the only it doesn't have a professional level.
Okay.
I mean, it's an amateur sport, meaning you don't get paid. But there's still, I mean, at the highest levels, it's equivalent to our professional teams.
Gotcha.
You know, that's something. So, I mean, yeah, like Adrian's played in Ireland and played in, Europe and Australia, all of these different places and stuff with, high-level teams. And this is one of the teams that he played against, one of his rivals when he was living in London for a while.
That's cool.
So he's been in, again, relationships and keeping contact and bonding. He was able to keep kind of a relationship, but he's got friends on this team. So, they wanted to make sure to make a stop in San Antonio. And, again, that speaks to San Antonio because, people love San Antonio. We love our tourists and, And so, we're going to play them, which should be cool.
So it's not like the music scene where a band will go on tour and they'll be like, oh, I want to go to Austin and Dallas. That's it in Texas, right? There's nothing else, right? There's no other city that matters.
That's
it's awesome that London says, as an athletic group, they're like, yeah, let's go to San Antonio. That's great.
Yeah, just like your mission with music, that's part of our mission is like, shining a light on San Antonio and saying, there's so much here. There's so much awesomeness and diversity and exciting things to see and do. So that's really a big part of it. And actually in March, obviously it's St. Patrick's Day month. You have St. Patrick's Day on I guess it's the 16th or the 17th.
Yeah.
But on March 8th, which is a really cool event, and if anyone listening makes it to anything we do or listens to one thing we say, try to come out to this event.
Yeah, this one's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge thing. Harp and Shamrock's putting it on. And it's called the South Texas Alamo Irish Festival. They're doing it on the grounds of UIW. They're right by the Benson Stadium. And it's going to be a cool thing. I mean, they're going to have food and drinks and beer and booths, traditional Irish music, dancing, art and crafts, vendors, all that kind of stuff. And one of the focus of it is we're going to have our the first round of our Texas, Wild Geese Championship there. We're going to face off against the Houston Gales, which is a team we love playing all these teams, but we have a pretty cool little rivalry with them. Yeah. It's really fun. The games are always a little
intense.
Yeah, a little more intense. And so we're going to play them, and Austin will be playing Dallas. And there's going to be the 3A games, and you'll have your developmental games as well, which is just other games that get played. And then you'll have, I believe, there's going to be a ladies' game. They're going to do a puck fada for the hurling. So, I mean, again, if you have even a tiny bit of interest in anything Irish, this is the place to be. I mean, especially with the sports stuff. I mean, it's just going to be a really awesome time, and you're going to see some really cool, hard-fought games, and guys from all over, are going to be here, and it's going to be a big thing. They're expecting big crowds and people coming in from out of town and stuff, so it should be really exciting. But again, it's just, something cool that Harp and Shamrock has really been trying to push, to really shine a light on, the Irish community in San Antonio and highlight, it's more than just, drinking or whatever the stereotypes are. It's, community and food and, family and entertainment.
It's what festivals should be.
Exactly. All the things. It's not just one specific thing. It's not just football. It's not just music. It's everything that encompasses a culture, and I think, which is so cool, that, I think that's what any culture wants, is to be able to show all the facets of it. In San Antonio, living here, I guess, sometimes we take that for granted. Yeah. But we do have that almost every day. I mean, you can go anywhere in the city and there's something exciting going on that's a part of our culture. It's part of our heritage. It's a part of all the, great stuff the city has to offer. Yeah. So when you have opportunities to do stuff like this, where you're kind of, again, shining a light on the Irish culture, it's just a really cool thing. And of course, you have St. Patrick's Day, which is the next weekend. Yeah. So you have that. You have all kind of stuff going on with that, and they do a lot of people have probably seen or been to it. They have the river parade, the St. Patrick's Day river parade.
And you guys get on a barge. Right?
Oh yeah, we've been lucky enough to do that. I think we did that done in the past 2 years. And and it's not just the Irish organizations. I think last year we were in a barge and we were being rowdy and this and that, and the Central Catholic band is in the these like little 15-year-old kids behind us playing their tubas and stuff, and but it's a good time. And again, if anyone, I'm sure people that are listening have been to it. They paint the river, they dye it green and all that, and man, it's like I think I'm showing
It's already almost green anyway.
Yeah.
So they don't have to do a whole lot of work, right?
Yeah. But it's just a great experience. I mean, it's just thousands of people that show up for that, and it's just a really good time, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, you know me, I'm not like, and I'm sure the listeners by now, those who have been listening for a while, I'm not a downtown kind of guy, which is crazy to say.
Which is crazy because it's the best part of the city.
Okay, but I always go down the wrong way on a one-way street.
Right.
I lost my car one time.
Right. You got a ticket by parking in front of a fire hydrant on my birthday. No?
I did get
that was somebody else, maybe.
No. I always tried to not.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't do that.
That's terrifying. Yeah, you're right. That was terrifying.
Yeah.
I've gotten parking tickets doing that, though. But
yeah, but you usually park and you're like, I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
And you come out and you're like, oh.
But yeah.
But if I were to go downtown for any reason, and it's funny because now that I've started doing this podcast, I find myself downtown way more now than I've ever been for the rest of my life. I want to try to make it out to some of these events, specifically what's going on in March. I really want to see that game, and I want to be able to enjoy that whole cultural thing. But to make it down to see you guys on the barge, even just for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. So a funny little story. I think the first year, not last year, but the year before that, when we were on the barge, and we were on the Lion and Rose's barge, and it was cool because it was like the first year I don't know what year it was, but 2 years ago. And it was just the first time I'd ever been in a parade or something.
Yeah.
You know? And it's so cool because you're going by, and the river's small enough that you can almost touch people on the banks.
Side.
And you got these little kids and people, and they're like, yeah. Then you go by and they're cheering, and they don't know who you are. They don't know what a Gaelic
They just know
Athletic
you're special enough to have a
But they're
barge.
like, these guys are on a barge. They must be somebody, and they're cheering and we're joking around, telling.
But you guys are also decked out in your
we got our kids.
Right?
We have our shorty shorts and our kits and the whole bit.
The shorty shorts for the ladies, right?
Yeah, yeah. And we have Kevin's there with his hurley, knocking balls around, and we took a couple of the footballs out there. We're hitting them around, and just to see people and being excited, they're just connected.
Yeah.
And anyways, we were coming down the side of one of the turns, and I'm sitting next to Adrian, and I'm like standing there, and all of a sudden I look up and I see my mom. And she's like, I can touch her. That's how close she is. And it's like this surreal moment where she's like, huh? And I'm like, Mom! And she's like, Rick, what are you doing? And I'm floating away. And I'm like, I'm on the barge, And she didn't know I was going to be on it. And I didn't know she was down there. Just a kind of weird happenstance.
That's cool.
And I was laughing. I turned to a couple of guys, and I'm like, that was my mom. Wasn't that crazy? So when we made the loop, we turned around at River Center River. We came back. And when we were passing by, all the guys are like, Mom! I'm yelling at my mom or whatever, and talked to her later, and she was like, what was that? What are you doing? That's crazy. And,
that's cool.
And it's just, unique experiences.
Yeah,
and you're right about downtown, man. It's something that's kind of getting more and more, people are getting more interested in it. We're just the urban life, whether living downtown or just being involved in the culture of urban life.
Downtown,
yeah, absolutely. You remember that when we lived downtown. We lived down there for 2.5 years, and it was great times.
I can't park at that garage. I can't find that garage to park for free at anymore.
It's not free anymore.
It's not free anymore?
It's crazy. Yeah. But the thing about downtown is that it alleviates so much of that stress. Is that you just, and I do this because I don't mind walking. I hate running, but I don't mind walking. Is it I just come into downtown, and almost the first spot I see that's a legit non-illegal spot,
you'll park at.
I'll just I'll take it and I'll walk 2 miles. I don't care.
See,
it's fine because that's part of the energy of it. It's I don't want to go to Waxy's and park right on St. Mary's in front of it. I want to be
that's unique because you live there.
People, I want to breathe it in.
That's because you live downtown. You feel comfortable there. Sarah and I, when we go downtown, we're like, that person looks shady. That area, there's no lights on this street. Let's avoid this. I mean, say like our friend Arnie was in town not too long ago, and it was he got engaged. So it was an engagement celebration at Rosario's.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I enjoy Rosario's.
Yeah.
But it's downtown, sort of.
Southtown, we're close.
Southtown. Okay.
Yeah.
It's packed as hell.
It was.
And we're there with a 1-year-old.
Yes.
And we were like, this is ridiculous. It was cool to see that there's so many people that are okay with that, But for us, it was tough because I was like, I'm okay. The only reason I was there, I'm here for Arnie. Because if it weren't for Arnie, I would not be here. I had to park 3 blocks away in the dark.
Yes.
And walk 3 blocks in the dark with my very attractive wife and my very cute little 1-year-old son, who's like all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like, I would not do this for very many people. Yeah. That's how much I disdain being in a vehicle downtown. Like, I could probably walk if I'm with you, and I could probably drive downtown if I'm with you, because my GPS cuts out on me downtown. Siri doesn't love me. Google Maps doesn't love me when I'm downtown. But like I said, I would definitely go downtown for these kind of events.
Yeah, I mean, like the Beethoven stuff. Like Beethoven, like on, they do the First Friday thing down there. It's like the German beer hall down there.
Oh yeah.
And that place is such an awesome place. And they have, I know in the past, they've done the halfway to St. Patrick's Day stuff that the Harper and Shamrock does, and that's always been a fun event.
Yeah.
I mean, just going as a spectator and kind of like seeing it and being involved and stuff has been fun. But you have all these kind of cool things. Waxy O'Connor's is a cool place to go to. It's an Irish pub it's on the, no, probably not. It's there on the Riverwalk, but it's a cool place. I mean, we went there for Carol's birthday. Me and Carol.
Yeah.
And we were there on a Friday night. And you kind of get like, there's locals and then there's kind of people that work downtown and then there's tourists and stuff. But we were in there, and it's kind of legitimately structured like a an Irish pub.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the piano and everything.
No,
No
piano.
Okay.
But it's narrow. It's got the wood everywhere, and like the piano and all that. I mean, no, there's no piano.
Dude, there is a piano.
Now you're infecting my brain. No, they had these. I wish I could remember the name of the band, because I would plug them for you, because they're awesome.
I think I remember you telling me.
It's 2 guys. It's a guy playing acoustic guitar and then a drummer. But between the 2 of them, it sounds like a full band.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know.
I like that when it's a wall of sound.
Yeah, and it was a Friday night. I think they play there every Friday. So, fellas, I'm trying to remember your name to help you out. Sexual Chocolate. I make it sounds something similar to that. I may not be that far off. But anyways,
bisexual.
And they were just playing every song that you knew the words to. No matter who you are, even if you don't like the song, you know the words to that song. And it was such a cool thing. We're just like, oh, that's awesome.
I think I remember you telling me, but there was one particular song that you told me that you tried to video it or something.
It might have been. They did a "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd, which was incredible.
Oh, man.
I think they did Wonderwall. All the stuff that you just know.
I think it was
words.
Wonderwall.
You just instantly know the words, And that was a cool thing. And again, that's a good example of that confluence. We were talking about a traditional Irish pub. That's on the Riverwalk in San Antonio, in this touristy place, but it feels genuine, it looks genuine, it's got a good vibe, and then you have them playing, awesome music that you love, that's, completely linked every facet of your life. So
they didn't play Cranberries?
They probably did. And then, it wasn't saying, it wasn't
Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah, it wasn't just,
That's it, right?
But
I'm getting very stereotypical here.
But I'll give you a cool example of, that particular place on that particular night, and countless other times where we've been with, club events and stuff. Is that when we were in Ireland, we were in Dublin at the Temple Bar District, right? And we're actually at the Temple Bar, which is like a whiskey bar or whatever. And same thing. It's like if you go to Lion Rose or Waxy's, places like that, it's got that same feel. It's kind of a little bit cramped, and but it's supposed to be, so you can be close to people and talk to them and interact. So you're not just kind of stuffed in the corner somewhere. And anyways, we're in the Temple Bar, and we have a couple of drinks and walk over to the back, and there's just like, you can't move. I mean, you would think like some famous band was playing there. Yeah. U2 was playing, because you could not move. You couldn't even barely get to where the stage was. And we walked up, and I do a video of this, and I always regret that I haven't put it up. But this same thing was these 2 guys playing guitar. Just playing guitar and singing. And they're doing, I'm going blank. I think it was With or Without You. It's either With or Without You or Step Style I'm looking for. Yeah.
That's the story I was
Yeah.
Okay, I was confused.
Dude, it was just like one of those
almost a religious experience.
Yeah. I mean, I love music as much as you. It's that same thing where you just like elevated.
Yeah.
And you're standing in this bar with probably 500 people that you don't know, you'll never see again.
Yeah.
But And we're sitting there, and this band is playing, and they're sweating, and they're just putting in their heart and soul into the song. And it's a song that everybody knows. And you're in Dublin, you know, and they're playing a U2 song. And it might as well been U2 playing. Yeah. Because people were just in it, you know? That's awesome. It was like, and it wasn't a cliche thing. It wasn't like these are all tourists and we're just pretending. It's like, most of these people are probably Irish people. Yeah. But we're just in that moment together, and you're kind of sharing that, and you're kind of bonding on this kind of unspoken level, which, you know,
and that song specifically, man.
And the awesome, you know, they're busting out, you know, YouTube covers left and right, and they're busting out all kinds of songs, but those were the ones that particularly that stuck out. And that's awesome. You know, like I say, you know, being here and being at some of these kind of events and stuff, and like the particular time I was telling you at Waxy's, it was those kind of transcendent. That's what I'm looking for. Where you're just like. You go, wow. Yeah. Like, I'm lucky to be here pulls you out of now. Yeah. You know, and you want to like step out of your body and just kind of look at it.
See, that's what I want for taking a step back into the local music aspect. That's what I want for local music, is that I think we're struggling against is, and I'm putting myself out there by saying this a little bit, but a lot of bands, they get up there, they do their set, that's it. They don't try to connect. They don't try, and it's not completely their fault either, because they might be used to an audience that doesn't want to connect. Yeah. And that's one thing that I've seen so much of, that when I hear a story like that everybody's involved, that everybody's like sweating with the band as well, like that's what we need. Yeah. You know, that's what we don't have. And I don't think Austin has it either necessarily. I think they have something that's different. People that thoroughly enjoy music, and then they're there for the music, but they're not really having a transcendent experience. Yeah. So, as a challenge to all the bands that are out there, connect with your people, man. And there's some performances that I've seen where I've connected. You know, at the 210 Twist for Tots thing that we had,
that was awesome.
I felt connected to a lot of it, but I think that was because of my own personal involvement. But to be able to go into just any club, say, oh, there's a band up there, and see that everybody's right there with them, and to become a part of that mob mentality that's just locked in on this band because of that combined love of music, or that combined just feeling that they're able to capture, that's the kind of experience that we need. Yeah. That's the kind of experience that local bands really need to focus on.
Yeah, and it's something that you can really...
That leads to people telling stories like this on a podcast for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's something that harkens back, you know, obviously beyond and past the digital age even. And you know, we know that now. I mean, right now we're experiencing that, all the benefits of the digital stuff, you know, whether it's social media or opportunities like this on podcasts. Of course, those things are awesome and they have their place. But again, like I said, going back to the old school, like being somewhere, right? Like, it never even dawned on me until recently. Somebody told me, but when you, like, the word pub, like you say, going down to the pub, you think it's just like a synonym for bar, but it means public house. It's a meeting place. Thought about that. Yeah, it's a community meeting place. It's a place that, you know, you connect with people, you gossip, you find stuff out. Yeah. And you're right, that's part of the thing, is like, you know, whether, you know, I know we're kind of going on a tangent, but that's fine, you know, because it's in the same world, same universe, you know. When you're talking about venues, I mean, that's the same thing. You got to have a place that feels like home. Mm-hmm. It can't feel like sterile, or you can't touch the wall, or someone's going to give you crap for looking at them funny, or for whatever, being dressed funny or whatever. You have to get past that and say, you cultivate a place that people feel comfortable. Yeah. When people feel comfortable, they let go. That's when you see people dance, when people sing and people move. And I'm one of those people, like, even at a band, like going to a band, like seeing like a band like Sparta, which is one of my favorite bands, a Texas band, you know, and seeing them live, seeing them at White Rabbit, like, even as the kind of person I am, I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to sing out loud in front of in public, or like to dance in public.
And I'm completely opposite.
You know, it's so like, but every once in a while you get in that moment and you just feel it, and you're like, oh yeah, and you hear that guy, you know, that guy that's dancing, and people are like, oh, he must be drunk or whatever, you know. But that's the thing, is to find a way to connect with people on a level, like you said, where everybody can just go, fuck it, I can do that. I can be myself right now, you know. And then, you know, sometimes you go to a bar or something, or a concert, and you see that person, and maybe they're on something, or they had a couple of beers or whatever, and you see that person or guy or girl, and they're dancing, and they're singing, and they're just doing that weird, you know, that the wedding dance, the guy with the tie on his head, you know, they're just dancing. They don't care who's watching. And you know, as a person who's kind of reserved, I get kind of jealous. Like, I wish I could do that. I wish I could let go.
You know, at the when we've seen a couple of Girl in Coma concerts together. Do you remember that big dude with the brown hair? Like I think at the Whitewater Amphitheater at the Toadies show, he was like right in front of me, kind of blocking my view.
That sounds
good.
Like,
yeah. And I was making fun of it, and I was like, and I saw him like at 2 or 3 different shows, and I'm like, really, with this guy again? But what you're saying makes sense. Like, I gotta apologize to this guy next time I see him and say, you know what? I'm glad you're having that fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad you feel you can cut loose. And I don't think he was drunk or stoned or
he's just enjoying it.
He was just really connected.
Feeling it. And it's funny because, you know, again, you know, we say tangent, but it's not, because all this stuff is connected, because it goes back to being connected. Mm-hmm. I mean, because that's what life is. It's being connected, finding a way to connect to other people and relate to other people, because that's what reminds you you're alive. It reminds you why you get out of bed, why you do all the things you do, and, you know, that you have to enjoy life. You can't just work and do all this stuff. You have to enjoy life. And that's the thing, at whether it's, you know, music or sports or art or whatever, you can find ways to just let yourself go. And of course, not let yourself go and be a moron, but let yourself go and just enjoy yourself. Yeah. And again, like you said, when you see a really good band, you can do that. Mm-hmm. When you see an exciting sporting event. Yeah. I remember the first time I went to an NFL game. Again, and I'm not a loud person. I'm not like a screaming up and jump up and down person. Yeah. The first NFL football game I went to was the Saints. Seeing them play at the Alamo Dome against the Buffalo Bills. And as a kid, I liked the Saints. Yeah. I loved like Bobby Hebert and these guys that played for the Saints, and you know they were a horrible team.
Right over my
but I dug them. I mean, it's mainly because like they showed their games. You know, that's kind of how it was. I didn't have cable, so that was on. That's what you saw. Yeah. I liked them, you know. But I remember seeing them in the Alamo Dome, you know, like after Katrina, and that was the first time I'd been in an NFL game or at an NFL game, and it was deafening.
Yeah.
People stood on their feet for 3.5 hours screaming. And this is in San Antonio, where we don't have an NFL team.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I didn't have that inhibition anymore. I was stomping and screaming. I was sitting there with Nick and Mike, and we were there together, and you're screaming at the top of your lungs, and you can't not do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when you're at a concert, and sometimes you go to a concert and you want to sit down. You're like, I'm just going to sit down. I don't care. I'm 34 years old. And there's a point where you're just like, you know, okay. The energy of the crowd lifts you up, and you're standing shoulder to shoulder, and you're like, I'm just gonna go with it because I feel it, you know. And that's the thing, you know, on any scale, whether you're seeing 80,000 people watching a football game, or 20 people watching a Gaelic football game, or 20 people watching a band, or 20,000 people watching a band, you wanna try to find the same feeling, you know.
I gotta say, watching you guys play, like it's still not knowing the points, not understanding things, and I'm like, who's winning? And I'm like, I love this. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what just happened. Rick almost fell down and died, but it was awesome. Who's winning? I think they are. What's the score? Something 0.325.
Yeah, exactly.
-5.
You know, like earlier when we were talking about like that transcendence, you know, and then the guy, you said the guy standing in front of you, you know, shaking his head and kind of making fun of him. I always think of it because it's a movie I love, like About a Boy. You ever seen About a Boy with Hugh Grant?
Yes.
And Toni Collette. Okay.
Yes.
So there's a part where, you know, he's kind of a smug guy, and he's kind of douchey or whatever. And he makes fun of, you know, the kid's mom. She's like a hippie, and he's kind of just high on himself and whatever. Yeah. Well, and he makes fun of him because he goes to their house or something, right? And with her and the kid, and the mom's, you know, her thing is like she plays the piano or whatever, and she gets the kid to sing with her, and they're singing like what song is it? I'm gonna go blank. But anyways, anyone out there that's seen the movie knows what I'm talking about. I don't have Wi-Fi, or else I'd look it up now. Anyways, so he's like making fun of him. He's like, "Oh my God, they're singing with their eyes closed." And like, you know what that means. It's that guy you're talking about. You're just like, oh, look at this person. Oh, they're just so into it, and it's annoying, you know. Yeah. And there's a part in the movie at the end, the kids at the talent show. He's kind of like, the kids are making fun of him, and it's the Roberta Flack song. It's gonna piss me off that I can't remember that.
Oh my God.
Killing Me Softly.
Yes.
Okay. I think it's Roberta Flack. So
I think so.
don't get mad if I'm wrong, people. But
There's a Fugees one.
yeah, Fugees.
Yeah,
That's probably the reason why people our age remember that song, because they did an incredible cover of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Killing Me Softly. That's what it is. But he's doing the original version. That's why it's kind of funny that, his mom's made him learn the song. And the kid wants to impress his mom, and he's like, that's the song he picks. And he's like, no, why would you pick that song? They're going to make fun of you. Yeah. And the kid goes out there, and he's just like singing it with like a cappella, with like a tambourine or something. Wow. And Hugh Grant walks out there with the guitar, and he's like, I got to help him. He walks out there with like
with the
Strat, and he starts singing with them. He starts playing, and he gets into it.
Yeah.
And he gets into it to the point where the kid's like, whoa, calm down. And all the kids like get freaked out by this creepy like middle-aged guy. And then there's like a point where like it freeze frames as someone's like throwing like a can of meat or something at his head, and he's like, oh my God, I became that person.
Yeah.
I'm singing with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
And that is such, like, for me, like, that's something I relate to, because when I do get to experience those moments, I'm like, and I make fun of myself internally and go, yeah, I'm doing it. And like
no, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But like when we sing that club song, I always do that. I'm always like, oh my God, I'm singing with my eyes closed. I'm singing the words. I'm like getting misty eyed.
Yeah.
About this song.
Well, like I said, even for me, not ever hearing it, to suddenly hear you guys in unison sing that song, like it's just like it grabs a hold of you.
Yeah.
From a place inside of you that you didn't know existed, that doesn't know the lyrics, doesn't know what the hell you guys are saying.
Yeah.
You can be speaking gibberish, but you feel it. You feel that passion or that emotion that you just can't put your finger on. And yeah, I close my eyes too.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome, and I really think that if anybody is interested in any of what we've talked about, they got to go see you guys. They got to go, at least go to the festival that's going on. At least try to be a part of it. Really, like aside from San Antonio music that needs help growing, San Antonio, like the Irish culture, needs help growing. So that way it doesn't get lost or forgotten as the generations move on. So I'm really glad that you came. I really appreciate you coming out to an empty apartment that was like 59 degrees when I got in.
It was cold. But this is nice. It feels like we're in the studio.
Yeah, it does.
We're in a real studio.
I only have this till the end of the month.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to knock out as many podcasts in this room as I can. But I really appreciate you coming out, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and letting the SAGAC have its moment on your show.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Well, like I said, I got to give back because it was really fun being involved when I was involved. So
and you're still involved.
To me, this kind of counts.
It's blood in, blood out, man. You're still a part of it.
I can't get out.
Part of it. Yeah.
Wait, I have to die to get out. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you got to be shanked by 40 guys.
or hit by a Hurley, right?
Yeah. Or Kevin gets to take one good whack at your head.
And Kevin, I think I remember one time was he doing a demonstration. He dislocated his pinky.
Oh no, we were doing a drill, and we were one of these little square drills. We're jumping for the ball. You're jumping up in the air, and you have 4, big guys jumping up, and the ball I think came down on his finger, one of these fingers, and he just turned around and he goes, "Oh!" And like he puts his hand up and it's just like crooked.
Obviously.
Like crooked. And I think Tyler or somebody grabs it and just crack, like yanks it, puts it back into place.
Oh.
And that doesn't always happen. Don't be afraid.
No, he doesn't. I've seen like a couple of, like out of all the times I've gone, I've seen like maybe 2 injuries that I was like, oh God.
Yeah, but that was a memorable one. I think everybody that's there it's kind of burned into your brain of going, it's crooked.
That's as close to seeing a leg break that I've ever gotten.
It was scary.
Like a finger getting completely dislocated and just looking very not right.
Yeah. We've seen a couple of, not just specifically on our team, but in other games that we've seen a couple of things where you're just like.
But that's also kind of the draw too.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
White people watch race cars or X Games. It's that same thing of like
a car crash.
These guys aren't wearing pads.
Yeah,
they're going full. Something's going to happen. And yes, of course, you don't necessarily want to see it.
Yeah,
but there's that thrill of possibly
the threat of it happening. Yes. And it's true because it's an exciting game, but there's so many things about it that are exciting. But 2 of the things that I can testify that are really cool is again, like moments like that where you just know like there's going to be a collision. Yeah. These two guys jump in there for the ball, and someone's going to come down hard, or someone's on a break and they're running and someone comes at them, and you just know, wow, these are like 200-pound guys running at each other full speed. And that's one of those moments you're just like, yeah, this sport's awesome. Yeah. That, and then when you see a couple of these guys, like Adrian, a couple of these other guys, Shane, you see them kick this ball 50 yards.
Yeah,
that's and you just see this thing, and you're just like, I don't know.
It's like everything goes quiet.
Yeah, and it's like a moment where like, oh wow, and I play defense. I'm way in the back. So sometimes I get to actually
see it coming at you.
Or I get to watch like one of our guys make one of these shots. Yeah. And I'm looking at it from 50 yards away, but they're kicking the ball another 50 yards, and you're just like, wow. Like that's a skill. This is real. This isn't like a fake sport. Yeah, it takes a lot of work to get to that level. Which is inspiring, because for the rest of us that are still learning the sport, I mean, that's what you may never get there, but you want to aspire to that level of just it clicking. Yeah. And that's what we always try to like instill in people that we talk to about the sport or the club or recruit or whatever. And I understand it. Sometimes people are like, oh, well, I'm out of shape, or oh, I don't play sports, or I never played sports, and that's not the thing. It's not about being this awesome person coming out and having that pressure. It's about just like seeing where you can go, testing your own limits. And some people they don't play. They're part of the club. They're active. They volunteer. They do different stuff for the club. They we do a 5K. We do different events, a golf tournament. Oh yeah. And there's all this kind of stuff that we're involved in. So I mean, even if you're not an athlete, and I'm making quotes. Yeah. You can be involved, and it's not exclusive. Like, well, you can't play football, so you can't come out. No, man. Like we got people that just hang out and have a good time.
Yeah. Well, that's what I did for a long time, because I couldn't.
And that's the thing. Is like that's the biggest thing. Is like it's like you come for the football, but you stay for the family. Yeah. You stay for the camaraderie. It's absolutely true. It sounds like a cliche, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, and that's like I said, I can attest to that too, because being out there in either the freezing cold or the blazing hot sun. Oh God, the time that I got the blisters on my arms.
Oh yeah, and that man.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, that was our first.
That was okay. There we go. I am blood in, blood out.
Yeah, absolutely, because that was the first home game we ever played in San Antonio. We played in front of a decent crowd, probably 150, 200 people, and it was a really big thing. And it was probably, I think it was 107 on the field that day, maybe 110, and it was just horrible. And you were
I've got a farmer's tan
going. Yeah, and you were a tripper. You were like, you had your hat, you had your sleeves rolled up, you had the Panasonic on your shoulder, and you're like,
I need to get my arms a little.
And I remember afterwards you came back and you go, look at this, and it was just like, I want to throw up. and I had already thrown up. I'll pitch that in there.
I'd throw up almost every time.
I throw up when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah, that's true.
That was almost the second time I threw up that day.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Oh God, yeah, and it's funny because after that I was like, I would be the stupidest person on the planet if I ever got another sunburn. I've gotten another sunburn already. Oh man, yeah, that was killer. But regardless, either freezing cold or blazing hot sun, it's an amazing game to watch. I don't think I've seen, and that's the one thing that I'm going to say is that I don't watch professional sports. Like, I got to hang out with you guys at Mike's and see some of the
Super Bowl. Yeah.
And, I really didn't care about the game. I just wanted to be around my friends. Yeah. And so I'm looking up and I'm like, it's teams I don't even care about, so whatever. And just watching the game for the hour and a half that I was there, so many timeouts, or so many this, or so many that. And I'm like, oh, whatever, dude. Why can't this be? And in my head, I actually thought, why can't this be like Irish football?
Boom, 1 hour.
Yeah. Not only that, but it's just like nobody. I don't see 50,000 flags fly up every play. Yeah. It's not like, oh, that guy should have done that. I can't focus on anything else anyway to know what should have happened, what should have not happened. All I know is that, holy crap, these people are like going as fast as they're going, or the ball is flying as high as it's flying, and it's just, you get involved immediately because it's like it demands every bit of your attention.
Yeah.
And
you can't blink.
Flies.
It flies by quick, and you blink. What happened?
Which is why I got those sunburns. Because I'm there with the camera, and I'm like, I gotta capture. Oh my god, what did I miss? What happened over here? And for those of you, you can't see. I'm like holding a fake camera in front of me,
spinning it around.
Yeah, and then suddenly it's like, all this 4 hours. It was 4 hours that day, right?
Yeah.
For the whole thing?
Yeah, because we had dancing and music. And
I don't have any sunscreen. Yeah. Something bad could happen.
Yeah, it was, it was a rough day. I remember that. That was a
And watching you guys...
tossed into the fire moment for everybody.
And exactly. And you guys were, sweating and bleeding out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
people got concussions, pulled some muscles, and...
I mean, for people who like sports in general, if you like professional sports, forget everything you know about it. Because if you want to get back to the root of things, probably like football in the 40s is probably the closest that you can get to Irish football now.
Yeah.
It's just an exciting thing to watch. So
absolutely,
everybody should be sure to go out on this Saturday on the 15th to catch the San Patricios versus the Irish Citizen Army. It is free at the University of the Incarnate Word soccer fields at 4301 Broadway. You got to go to Irish Heritage Day on February 23rd. San Antonio Gaelic Athletic Club versus Neasden GAA, the London team on February 28th. Location to be determined, but I'll list it later. And then the big one, March 8th. Don't forget, March 8th, they're going to be playing the Houston Gales. It's going to be an awesome game. All the details are going to be in the show notes on iTunes. It's going to be on the website as well. I finally have Wi-Fi at the apartment that we just moved into, and I'm sorry, San Antonio, got to be completely honest. The apartment that I've been living in for the last 3 years is technically Live Oak. But but Kevin could use his hurley.
That's true.
And knock a ball into San Antonio from where I'm standing.
True.
Or sitting currently.
Absolutely true.
But now
it's a mile.
Now
hit the ball.
We have moved to Shirts.
Yeah.
And I'm now further away from San Antonio.
In a different county.
Yes.
A different tax rate.
Guadalupe County. Right?
That means you can't even use your San Antonio library card anymore.
I don't think I have a San Antonio.
Oh well, if you did, you couldn't use it.
I don't go to the Enchilada library.
That's an incredible library.
If
you spend more time downtown.
No. The only reason that I've been to the library in the last 20 years was for casting for Three Lights.
Oh yeah.
That's it. Aside from that, there was no.
It's a cool library. I like. It's huge. Got a lot of cool art and stuff in there.
It is. I'm glad that we met outside, or no. I think I drove to your place first. And then, and that's usually how I get around downtown or anywhere. Is go with Rick. He knows the way. Anyway, I know I already said this earlier, but thanks again.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Glad you're able to come out and represent. And we're at an hour and a half, man.
Oh, wow.
So this is epic. This is really epic.
This was longer than a Gaelic football game.
This was.
So that gives you some sense.
You could have seen an entire...
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, if you spend an hour and a half doing this, give up an hour Saturday morning and check it out.
And for those who are interested in joining the team, go out to the almost Basin Park field.
Yes.
Rugby pitch. Is that what it's called?
The best thing is go to the website. It's got everything you need to know about us and what we do, when we're at.
What email should they use? Contact somebody directly.
Contact me at pro at sanantoniogac.org. Pro, Public Relations Officer.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that sounds very...
PRO at sanantoniogac.org. Feel free to contact me with any questions you have. We also have a recruitment officer. That's easy. It's recruitment at sanantoniogac.org. That's Carlos. And Jimmy is the Irish Culture Officer. So if you have any questions about happenings with the Irish cultural or culture or music events, whatever, you can contact him at Minister of Culture at sanantoniogac.org as well.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Rick.
Thank you.
Take care.
This is Nick with Slow Like Fired, and you're listening to Mario on the 210 Local Music Podcast.
This podcast episode is brought to you in part by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day trial at www.210localmusic.com/audible. We get a nice little bonus if you do, and you can cancel at any time. There are over 150,000 titles for you to choose from for your iPad, Kindle, Android, or MP3 player.